Hey guys, Bill here with World Made Simple, and today we're going to finish up our series on population by talking about the populations around the world. When I started this whole thing, I made the claim that America has a healthier population than China. Now, when everyone probably heard that, they probably thought, well, our cheeseburger diet probably isn't great, and it isn't. I'm not referring to that kind of health. I'm referring to our population sizes relative to the groups that we've talked about. So our learners, our workers, and our elders. So when we talk about our learners, workers, and elders, we talk about our population as a whole. And the health of those population groups determines the overall health of a nation. So China right now has a very large elder group, a moderate worker group, and a smaller learner group. The United States has about a balance where we have the same amount of workers, learners, and elders for the most part. This means that in the United States, when the workers eventually retire and become the elder population, we have enough learners to replace that group. China doesn't have that. So China is not able to replace their workers. That is going to be a huge other issue that we'll talk about in another video, but that's what I mean by population health. China's not the only country that's facing this. South Korea is another great example of a population which is in decline. You have a large number of elders, a moderate number of workers, and a small number of learners. Japan is a poster child for this as well. A lot of people don't realize this is also happening in a lot of European countries, such as Germany and Italy. Russia's also in the middle of this, and the war with Ukraine is actually making things much worse. So there's a lot of these countries that fall into the declining population because of what we call an inverse triangle, where you have that small population of learners ended with that large population of elders. The United States has a column where you have a balance at all three levels, and this is not super common right now in the world. There's only a few countries that have this off the top of my head. The United States, Argentina, and France are three countries that have balanced populations currently. Now, there is a third type of population. That is where you have, instead of a ton of essentially top weight from the elders, you have a ton of bottom weight from the learners. So you have a large number of learners, a moderate number of workers, and then a small, tiny number of elders. And this is going to be mainly your developing world or third world countries, such as especially in Africa. This is kind of the gist of how populations affect the world. And a lot of times you can determine social and cultural effects of things that are going to happen before they even happen, just based off of these numbers for populations. If you have a large, essentially working class, and you're able to go ahead and just make essentially everything you need with cheap labor like China's done, and they're not able to do that anymore because they don't have a learner generation to replace that worker generation, it can cause a lot of social and economic problems. And you're already starting to see some of that in China. So that's kind of the gist of population in the world. So I'm going to leave the population segment off here. If you guys have any additional questions about population or want any more clarification, I'm happy to do so. I'm going to be going over things like culture, religion, ideology, and a couple of other videos, so they're not going to fall on the population as much as it kind of does apply. I want to simplify things as much as possible. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video when we move from population to resources. Take it easy.